Close. Okay, we are live. Let's adjust the camera just a little bit. Pull this over here. No one's here yet. Welcome back. If you're watching this on replay, this is Gone with the Whisk. I am Morgan, pastry chef in Monroe, Louisiana, and decorate some cakes. Time to go live tonight. Let's see if I can pull the chat up on my laptop here so I can actually read it from here. All right. So many. One watching now. That might be me. Anyway, I have some cake orders that I'm working on, and I tried to record a video to post on YouTube later, but my phone ran out of space, so I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and go live, see if anybody's up, wants to watch, who knows. I'm going to be covering buttercream, so I can't really type back, but I'll try and read some comments if y'all leave them and respond. Alright, I have been doing, I'm working on a 2-tier cake. It's a birthday cake decorated for Doc McStuffins. I don't know who or what a Doc McStuffins is, but apparently it's pretty popular. So we're going to figure it out. I'm doing a crumb coat here on the top tier. Oh, there's a few people in. Hi, y'all. I'm doing a crumb coat here on the top tier. Just scraping off some of the extra frosting. And let's see. Hello, Maureen. Thank you for joining in. This was not a planned live. I was actually in the middle of recording a video, and I was at the beginning, and my phone ran out of space, and I didn't want to deal with that, so I decided just go live. It's still a video. People can watch it later, and it's better than not having a video. So, alright, I have crumb coated the top tier. I did most of that in the video that I had to get to make. So I'm going to pop it in the cooler and let that chill a few minutes. Oops. Anything touching it. Okay, and now I'm going to crumb coat the bottom tier. First, let's fill the bottom tier. Oh, I'm out of parchment. That's not good. Oh, I should have added some to my Walmart order. I'm going to grab some tomorrow. Let's just use some foil. Oh, no. That's wax paper. Not the same thing at all. Okay. Where were we? We're going to fill the inside of this cake. So I'm using some of this buttercream here. Just going to plop it on. I don't want too thick of a layer. We want enough to be, noticeable. I haven't coughed all day. If y'all watched my last live, I had been sick all of December, and it's that same, not the flu and not COVID, we don't know what it is, it's going all over the country. I had whatever that is, and whenever I get sick, especially in the wintertime or fall, I start coughing from my asthma and just does not end. So I've been not coughing for about a week or so now, and then yesterday it kind of started up again, and then it was fine, and I guess this evening it's kicking up a little more, so we'll see. Anyway, did a layer here. Now we're going to put on the top layer of cake. And then we want to take your scraper tool and just kind of go around, make sure it's centered. One tier, the top tier is not hanging off on one side too much. I'm just going to smooth out that little band of frosting. Okay. You hear my dog Windsor barking. Probably one of the cats doesn't want to play with him. He wants to play with him, so he's just don't fit. Let's see, who all we got? Donna Bell said something and then says message retracted. Maureen asks who I'm making the cake for. This is a birthday cake for our client's child. I forget the kid's name. I have to look it up in a minute when I get to that part. But this is someone who went to our website and ordered a cake. So now I'm just going to take a big dollop of frosting. Dollops of frosting. Oops. Okay. I might have to take this cardigan off in a minute. My sleeves won't stay up. And I'm just going to, I'll do what y'all can see. Scoop some up, and I take my spatula, spread it up and down. This gets a fairly consistent thickness all the way around. There's no weird gaps. Sometimes I take a piping bag and I like pipe on a layer all the way around and smooth that out. And then some people will take their spatula and do it this way, spread it on. But for me, I always wind up with gaps and uneven thicknesses. So I figured I would kind of like to do it this way. Let's see. Yes, happy Valentine's Day to y'all too. Buttercream frosting is really good. I do English buttercream instead of American buttercream. It doesn't have the milk or water in it that American buttercream has, so it's just butter, sugar, a little salt, and vanilla. And it is really good. And it's fairly thick for like decorating with. Windsor, a silly dog. It works pretty well. I know some people use like Swiss meringue buttercream, and I see it comes out really smooth. I haven't worked with it much. Windsor, come here, boy. Silly dog. I haven't worked with Swiss meringue buttercream much, but I want to try it again to see how smooth it is. But I also don't really want to cook my buttercream, so we'll see. I used to decorate cakes for your family. Yes, that's I've done for my family pretty much. I do everyone a birthday cake for their birthday for free, and you know, it's a gift. So depending on what I have going on, sometimes it's more elaborate, sometimes it's more simple. You get what you get, right? And I've done cakes for several of my partner's friends' birthdays too, recently. And I've had some friends order cakes from me too for their birthdays, but for family I typically do some kind of a cake. Okay, so I always put my crumb coat buttercream in a separate bowl. I don't put it back in my my bucket because you don't want the crumbs back in here. And if you don't know what a crumb coat is, it's basically when you decorate a cake, you get the little crumbs. You can see they're pretty bad. You get the little crumbs of cake caught in your frosting, and it shows through. So you don't want that to show through on your finished cake. So you take a thin coat of buttercream to kind of lock in those crumbs. And then you let it chill in the refrigerator for just a few minutes. And then you can do your final coat of frosting on top. And those crumbs won't come through because they're caught in the harder layer of frosting. And when I say harder, it's not going to stay hard, but it's just cold at the moment. So it doesn't, because it's made of butter. So it just kind of solidifies while it's cold. And then it warms back up and it gets soft again. So you do a crumb coat so that your finished cake looks, nice, neat, clean, and pretty. Whoops. There it is. I just hit a hand thing. Just gonna wipe off my board here. We don't want this white buttercream to stay. Alright, go back with this one more time, which looks a little lumpy to me. Let it smooth it just a little more, that'll make the next step just a little bit easier. Right, take that, and smooth this top back out. Alexa, stop. So I'm gonna pop this in the refrigerator too. And let's check on this cake. Looks like it's ready to come out. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. Alright, fresh out of the oven. I'm gonna bring it around here and pop it on my cooling rack. Alright, I'm just gonna let that chill a little while. This cake is being picked up tomorrow afternoon. That cake that I just pulled out of the oven is actually something a client ordered kind of last minute. I got a phone call a couple days ago from a guy needing a cake for Valentine's Day. And I was like, sure, let me scribble down your details. When I get to my computer, I'll send you an invoice, figure out how much it's going to cost. He was like, okay, great. I sent him an invoice about an hour later, didn't hear a word. So I was like, okay, maybe it was too expensive. That's fine. Then tonight, I got a text saying, hey, what time can I pick up my cake tomorrow? It's like, you didn't respond, you didn't pay, but sure, let's get that going. So I did a last minute Walmart order, paid extra for rush delivery tonight, and mixed that up and got in the oven as fast as I could. So it's a pretty simple cake. So it shouldn't be too much trouble. They ordered an Italian cream cake, which it's kind of like an almond wedding cake flavor, but it also has pecans and coconut. So I just have to be careful not to eat any of the cake scraps that I cut off the tops of those, because I am very allergic to coconut. And yeah, I don't need to go to the ER tonight. So, we'll see, just make sure I don't do that. Alright, those are cooling, and that's cooling. I'm going to wipe down my table here. Okay, y'all hush. Oh, goodness. Right. I am going to. Oh, thanks. Yes, I moved in here the very end of November, beginning of December. And it is much better than my last kitchen. I have all this counter space, more counter space over here where the mixers are. And I have my workstation that I got from the bakery when it closed, that I can roll around, because typically it is against the wall where the camera is, way over there. But I have space to be able to roll it out here like an island and work, and I have room for my cooling racks and everything there. So it's a pretty nice, pretty big kitchen. I still find ways to, cover it in dirty stuff, but let's see. While everything's chilling, I'm gonna pull up the reference photos that the client sent me. Let me see. Where? Bakes. Okay, so let's see if I can print these. New tab. Hush. Goofy dogs. Okay. I don't know how to print just from. Oh, there it is. Okay, print that one. New tab and this one. Alright, I'm going to print off these reference photos and then go get them. So I can figure out what I'm even doing. Goodness. This is for a little girl named Belle who is turning 8. Goodness. Let's see. Goodness. Got me a cough drop, and I'm gonna go grab those printouts, and I'll be right back. Okay. So let's see, these, I'll bring them around so you can see. These are the reference photos they sent me. So it has a stethoscope and a Band-Aid on it. This one has another stethoscope and a Band-Aid. And this one does have a Band-Aid on it. So lots of pink and purple, maybe some stripes, some polka dots. She did request that I put a Band-Aid on it with her name, which has in a couple of these photos. And I was looking for little figurines, little toys to use as cake toppers, which I can normally find for different things. But the only thing Dr. Stuffins I could find was like a whole $30, $40 playset. And I didn't want to charge the customer for that. I'm sure they didn't want to pay for that. So I'm going to do the next option, which they were okay with, was cardstock toppers. I take, the characters, different images, I put in Canva, I make a cool topper, maybe combine some different elements, put names and stuff on them, print it out, cut it out, and that's going to go on top of the top tier. But I did find on Amazon an actual like pink stethoscope. So instead of like fondant or buttercream or edible image or something of one, I can put this on the cake somehow. And then once they're done, like she can have this and play with it. So that'll be a fun little extra bonus. Let's see. Why does she want a Band-Aid on the cake? The theme is Doc McStuffins. I'm a 33-year-old, I have no idea what that is. But from what I can gather, it's a little cartoon of a doctor or a veterinarian or something. And so it's a stethoscope and Band-Aids and stuff. A lot of these cakes have a little Band-Aid on them. Like this one has one with a heart on it. This one has like a Band-Aid shape with the name on it. So that's what they decided they wanted for the cake. So, yeah, I'm going to do a Band-Aid with buttercream. So I'm going to make a tan buttercream and pipe it on, smooth it out, and then put her name on top of that. So hopefully it looks okay. I try not to use much fondant at all because people don't like eating fondant. There's a few people that do. Most people don't like eating fondant. I prefer to do modeling chocolate instead of fondant. It just tastes so much better. But it can still be difficult to work with. Either one, you'll make a shape. If it doesn't dry long enough, it'll like stretch or warp or get like an elephant skin texture on it. And I've taught myself to make stuff with buttercream whenever possible, and it works. It looks great. So that's what I try to do. Hi Tammy, thanks for joining us. Let's see if I missed anybody else. Yes, I do hope she likes this. I'm pretty sure it is I'm gonna put it in my ears. It's the actual like working, like a cheap one, but like I'm pretty sure it's the actual working stethoscope. So hopefully she likes that. Especially if you like Doc McStuffins or, doctor type stuff. Okay, so looking at the reference photos, I'm thinking I'm going to do the bottom tier pink. And the top tier white. And the top tier is going to have polka dots, because that's what the others pretty much have. Now, these cakes have a lot of fondant on them, stripes, the dots and everything, so mine will look, different, because I use buttercream, like I said. But I still get, the general feel of it. So, set these up over here. Where is my... underneath my table here, I have a shelf along the back that holds little bins of supplies. And then in front, I have buckets of flour and sugar and stuff. And then beside the bucket, still in front, I have some random stuff that I haven't really found a home for yet. That will probably go on that shelf. I just need to organize it. And who wants to do that? That's not fun. Except for when it is fun. So I'm going to do pink. These were, right here. These are some food coloring bottles that someone sent me from my wish list, and they've been pretty handy. I like using this brand when I worked at the bakery, but I mean, the big bottles can be expensive, like $10, $15 a piece, more depending on where you get it from. So for starting out, you need all the colors. I found these little combo packs. They have a bunch of these small bottles, and they've been pretty great. So you can like start off and you run out of say pink, where you can just go ahead and buy a full-size bottle of pink and not have to buy, you know, all the colors at once. And just slowly work your way up to needing them. Where did I put my bowls? Oh, there's stuff in it. I'll grab one of these. Alright, I think I'm losing my mind. Bowls are right here. Alright, well, yeah, I need to organize all this. I have this whole like shelf under here, and then I have a closet right around the corner, and then my cooling rack, my speed rack, has baking pans on it and trays that have more stuff set up there. So I've got to like go through and organize it so I know where everything is. I can find stuff easily. So I forgot I moved these bowls in here. All right, so let's make some pink buttercream. All right. How big is this cake look? I don't want to make too much and then have a bunch, be stuck with a bunch of pink, but I don't want to not make enough. And I want to have enough for like accents and little polka dots and stuff like that. And not to mix more and the colors not match. So we're gonna hope that is enough. I'm gonna start with 2 drops and just see where that gets us. I'm just going to use a regular spoon for right now to mix. This is fresh buttercream, so it's still pretty soft. When you work with gel food coloring like this, you need to be careful what you use to mix with because it can stain it pretty bad. Silicone spatulas and stuff. there is a good chance, no matter what color you use, there's a good chance your spatula is going to be pink forever. Okay. It's looking pretty nice. I might go a little bit more pink though. So let's just like 2 small drops. All right. Scrape the bottom and the sides, make sure it's all mixing well, there's no big chunks of white left in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. So, I'm gonna set these over here out of the way. I'll probably use them again in a moment. Okay. And it's pretty close to this color. No, I'm not going to make it match because I do want this to stand out. I thought about making the colors match, but I want this to stand out so that you see it immediately when you look at the cake. So I'm just going to lay this right here. And let's see if this cake has burned up yet. Let's give it just a little bit longer. So while we wait, I'm going to make a cheat version of cream cheese frosting for the Italian cream cake. So what I do for that is I take just a block of cream cheese in a microwave safe bowl. Some of my Star Wars Pyrex that I have. There's more there too. Here we go. Okay, so dump this in here. And I'm gonna heat it for about 30 seconds at a time. I have a trash bag down here. I'm not just throwing stuff on the floor. Right. So I'm gonna wait on that. We'll put this wax paper back up for now. I might get back out to other cake in a moment. All right. Feels pretty soft. Take another spoon. I'm just going to take a big scoop of buttercream frosting and add in there with it and mix it up. Because when you make cream cheese frosting, you're basically whipping together cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar. So if you already have buttercream made up, just add that to your cream cheese, and there you go. There. Now the cream cheese is warm, so it's kind of melted the buttercream a little bit. But it is making it a little easier to stir. So, arm's gonna fall off. Yeah. So just keep mixing. And then try to get all the lumps out. And when it's cream cheese, there's gonna be some lumps. If you have more patience than I do, you can use a stand mixer or a hand mixer, or you can be stubborn like me and just hand mix. Your choice. Okay, that's pretty smooth. Still pretty soft, so I'm just going to set this whole thing in the fridge for a few minutes. Alexa, set a 10-minute timer.
10 minutes, starting now.
Alright, I'll fire it up a little bit. So we don't want it too runny. We don't want it too firm either. Whew. Okay. I guess let's go ahead and start with the bottom of this here. I'm wondering if I have enough buttercream to do both cakes with. I have enough butter to do one more single batch, so I should be okay. I might have to run it Walmart at like 10:45 right before they close and get more butter and powdered sugar, but hopefully not. Okay, so scrape off any excess frosting from the spatula, and I'm just gonna do it like I did before, and spread it on. I haven't done a whole lot of baking this month. I had a pre-sale, a couple pre-sales right before I went on vacation. And then coming back, I didn't schedule any for like right after we got back. So I want to give myself a little wiggle room just in case anything crazy happened. I didn't have to come back and immediately start baking. So I had last week of no pre-sales. I did have a cake last week though. And then this week I didn't do a pre-sale. I knew I had this cake, a cookie cake, and I had maybe that cake. So I didn't rush to do a pre-sale. I probably should have, because your boy's broke over here. But hopefully I'm gonna go ahead and get one scheduled for next week. I haven't really done a whole lot of baking since this month. Before my vacation, I do a lot of scones every week as a pre-sale. I'll put up on my website, I'll do, this flavor of scones and maybe a certain flavor of macarons or bread or something. And they people can pick from that and they can order one or two or all the things or whatever. And so I've been doing that. So I need to do another flavor of scones for next week. Let's see. Last week, if you're on my Instagram or the GoneWithTheWhisk Facebook page, you may have saw the picture of the Barbie cake I did. That was a 1-tier cake with a cardstock topper like I'm gonna make for this one. And then it had all the little colorful little balls and stuff that I have some leftovers going to go on this cake too. You have to buy those in kind of big packs. And I bought 2 packs so I can get all the pinks and then all the golds and the blues and purples. So I had a lot left over. But I always save that stuff for other cakes because eventually we hang on to all the extras. You could do some cakes without having to order the extra pieces. Okay. Let's put some more in here. What do we got? Oh, Erin's doing a Valentine's cake tonight too. Yep. I thought about doing Valentine's orders, but I was very iffy. Just about my timeline, so I didn't do it. I should have done it for this week, but I didn't take any. How was the trip? The trip was great. We went to New York City. It's my first time I've ever been there, and it was pretty cool. Our flight left here at like 6 a.m. We landed in Atlanta less than an hour later, and then we had about an hour and a half or so at that airport, and then we flew to New York, and it was about a 2-hour flight, and then we landed at LaGuardia, got a cab to Manhattan, which was $65 one way. I did not expect that. Checked into our hotel, and we met Carlton's sister, and what did we do? We went out to eat. We walked around our hotel. We stayed at the Algonquin, which was famous historical hotel. Dorothy Parker and a bunch of her friends that were writers and comedians and movie stars and stuff used to meet there all the time, or every day for lunch. So we stayed there, and it's about a block and a half off of Times Square, maybe 2 blocks. So we walked everywhere, pretty much. So we got there. We took a cab to Milk Bar. If you follow like Food Network stuff, Christina Tosi, who has a bunch of baking shows and cookbooks and everything, she has a bakery called Milk Bar. So we went there. That's one of the few cab rides we took because it was kind of further away. We went back to the hotel a little bit, and then we went to dinner at a restaurant owned by Lydia Bartielli. Oh, I forget it. It's an Italian restaurant. She has an Italian last name. Lydia's starts with a B. If you watch PBS, she has Lydia's Italian cooking, something like that. We ate at her restaurant. It was pretty nice. And then we went to see the Broadway show Death Becomes Her, based off of the movie. That was my first Broadway show, and it was very funny. We all definitely enjoyed it. Then, what did we do afterwards? I think we probably just went back to our hotel because we were exhausted. We'd been up since 4 a.m. by that point. So we went to the hotel, just went to bed. The next day, we got up and had breakfast at the hotel's restaurant with Carlton, his sister, and his sister-in-law who came in overnight on a train from Boston. And we had breakfast. That was $100 for 2 people for breakfast. And then me and Carlton went on a bus tour of the city, because I'd never been. He's been several times. I'd never been, so we decided the bus tour would be great. So we could sit on top of a double-decker bus that is open air and be able to see like all the buildings. They give you headphones, you plug them into your seat, and it's a narrator telling you about everything you pass. And that was pretty cool to see, like, what all did we see? We went past the New York Public Library with the big lion statues. We saw the World Trade Center, saw the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building. We saw a lot of stuff. Let me see. We got a tiny glimpse of the Statue of Liberty from like that far away. We were gonna get off the tour because you can get on and off the tour. They have a ton of buses that just constantly run. So we were gonna get off at Battery Park and kind of walk down and see the statue across the bay. I guess it's a bay, I don't know. But, whoops. Alexa, stop. There was a lot of construction in the park, and we didn't think we could get down there easily, so we decided to skip that. Okay, perfect. Let's just set this over here. But then we went back up along the Hudson River towards Manhattan, and like a big loop from like Times Square all the way down to the point. I don't know what you call it. The tip of the island, or peninsula, or whatever it is, and then we went back up along Hudson River back to Times Square. So we did that, and then me and Carlton's sister-in-law went to, well, we had lunch, I guess, and then me and Carlton's sister-in-law went to see Hamilton, while Carlton and his sister went to see The Outsiders. Hamilton was so good. I wanted to see that for years. I, and along with a lot of people in like 2016, like had that soundtrack memorized. And so I wanted to see it. I've seen the film version on Disney Plus, and you know, that's good. But the live version was so much better. And I'll pop this in the cooler. Let this layer firm up, then I'll do one more layer, because I can still see shadows of the cake layers. Moving through the peaks, this is a pale color. So I'm just going to let this chill just a few minutes. While that goes, I'm going to go ahead and frost this tier. Yes, I saw Hamilton. It was so much better live. And definitely recommend it. Let's see. Oh, rinse this. That sounds so familiar. I'm going to rinse the pink off of here real quick. I'll rinse it off. Anyway, we saw Hamilton. And then we met back up with everybody. We went to dinner. Oh, I forget the name of all the restaurants we went to. We went to dinner at another place just off Times Square. And then we went to see another Broadway show, same day. Let me see. Oh, it wasn't a Broadway, it was a play. It was a smaller theater. So we went to see Oh Mary. It's about Mary Todd Lincoln. Is no historical accuracy in there at all. It's just a goofy play, and it was pretty funny. We had a man, a very old man, like late hundreds old man, sitting right in front of us, and I don't know if he was trying to laugh or what, but every single line anybody would say, whether it was funny or not, he'd go, oh, and it was okay at first, but it got very kind of distracting. I was able to tune it out for the most part, but Carlton and a lot of people around us kept looking at him and trying to figure out what was happening. But I thought it was fine. The play itself was pretty funny. So that was day 2. We've seen 3 shows at this point. I think afterwards some of Carlton's friends were in the city, they had also went to see Oh Mary, and we were gonna meet them afterwards for drinks, but something came up with them, so we decided to get lunch the next day instead. So I think after that we just went back to the hotel, because it was 9 o'clock by that point probably. So we walked back to the hotel, and then the next morning we got up and we went on a different bus tour of the north half of New York City. So we were from Times Square all up to Central Park. You saw the, what do we see? Central Park, we saw the plaza, the Astoria. Windsor, oh, I forgot the name of it. Astoria something, or something Astoria. We saw Columbus Circle, the Louis Vuitton buildings that are, the outsides have been wrapped to look like Louis Vuitton luggage. There's a bunch of stuff like that. There's a bunch of buildings, less that I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this before, for the second half of the tour, the second day. There was still a lot of really good stuff. Then when that finished, it was kind of cold in New York City, but not bad. I mean, it had no colder than it had been here in Louisiana. But the only times we were cold is when on the double-decker open-air bus tour, when we were coming up along the Hudson River for miles and going around Central Park, where there were no buildings to block the wind. That is when it was cold, and I thought I was going to die. The rest of the time, walking through Manhattan, it was fine. Even when it started snowing on our last night, the weather was fine. It was just the being in the open air with no buildings to block the wind from the river. That is when it was too cold. Let's see. After that, we went to the Rockefeller Center and went to the top to see the view of New York City. We decided that we'd go to 30 Rock instead of going to the top of like the World Trade Center or the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building, because from the top of 30 Rock you could see all of those iconic buildings. If I asked you what does Rockefeller Center look like, you probably have no idea. It's not really the iconic picture you want. So we decided to go to the top of that building and see everything else. And it was a really good view. And I was expecting that to be freezing cold, because you're up there, especially in the top level, it doesn't have the glass surround. It's just more open. So I expected that to be like freezing cold, but it wasn't. So I'm guessing they have some sort of like built-in heat to the flooring and the walls maybe, because it was actually very comfortable up there. But we went around, and then we saw, I guess we went 8 again. Yes, Carlton's friends has me for lunch at a pizza place. And then we went to see Gypsy starring Audra McDonald. And that was really, really, really good. That was really good. I'd never seen Gypsy or knew what the story was about or anything. Carlton tried to give me like a quick rundown right before it started, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of information being thrown at me. So I really kind of went into it blind, and it was very good. Audra McDonald, she's very famous on Broadway as won lots of Tonys. If you've watched The Gilded Age, she plays, oh, I forgot all the characters' names. um, the mother of the aunt, the mother of the secretary who works with the aunts. If that makes sense. Yeah, she was really good. So after that, Carlton's sister and sister-in-law had to leave to get the train to go back to their home. So I think we kind of walked around Times Square some more. We went to Carlos Bakery from Cake Boss. They have a location in Times Square. We went there. We stopped and ate at the Irish pub. They had actual Irish people working there, not just, like the one here with a bunch of rednecks. Took us forever for them to take our order. I assumed they knew I was Scottish. So after that, we were really, really tired. And we went all back to the hotel, and it started snowing. It was pretty. We were so tired. And then we got in there. We was putting our stuff away. We looked at the clock and realized it was only like 7:30. So we thought, like, maybe we should go back out or something. I mean, it's the last night in New York City. It's only 7 o'clock. Like, I hate to waste it. We did not go back out. We watched TV and fell asleep. We had gotten like a bunch of treats from a bakery, so we just sat there and ate those. And then we fell asleep. And the next morning, we had breakfast down in the hotel again, and then got a cab back to LaGuardia, and did a whole trip in reverse. So, lots of really cool stuff. As of right now, we're probably going back next spring. Carlton's conducting a choir at Carnegie Hall, so as long as nothing crazy happens, we'll be doing that. We get to see some more stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Erin. Okay, yeah, you do a whiskey cake. That sounds good. I think the most requested I've had is lemon and lemon blueberry, or kind of a spice cake. Like those are my most requested. Okay, so I think I'm still going to do one more layer of frosting on top of this one. It was cold coming out of the fridge, so putting on the new layer of frosting, it kind of like solidified it really fast. So I might have to do another layer on top just to get it really smooth. So I don't want to scrape down too much and go back down to cake layers. Can just patch in a few little spots here, scrape it again, and call it done, because I am going to cover this in, little polka dots and a Band-Aid and all that stuff. So shouldn't be too noticeable imperfections. And I always have to remind myself that like your cake's not going to be perfectly smooth, because it's done by hand, not by machine, and that once your decorations go on top of your base layer, you don't see the imperfections. Even if they're still there, you don't see that. So I always have to remind myself to like let it go, keep going, move on. Because I will scrape every bit of frosting off of this cake in an effort to get it smooth, start over, put more on there, scrape it all off. girl boss would watch me and just, it would drive her crazy. She'd have to like take the spatula from me and like say, here, it's done. Alright. So this might actually not need an extra layer, which is good. Because if it did, I would need to make more frosting, and I don't want to do that. Okay. So, I'm going to pop this in here and see. Yeah, that should work. I was a little close to New York City, but never got to go. That's, well, hate that, because it's actually pretty cool. I realized I have a friend who lives in Brooklyn, but in my head, she lived in Boston. I had the cities mixed up. So we realized, like, in the last hours I was there that we could have met if there had been time. So, that's pretty sad, but we're hoping next time we can plan it out in way more notice. I think I mixed my buttercream a little too long because there's some air bubbles in here that's kind of hard to smooth out. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Yeah, next time I go, I'll be alone a lot of it because the crowd will be rehearsals. So I'm probably going to like go to the MoMA and do like a bunch of the little things. I'm seeing like the tour and everything. So I'm gonna do some little things. Like I might see if I can go into the New York Public Library, look around a minute. I might ride down to, what was it, Trinity Church. I'm a weirdo. I love history. I love cemeteries. So I might go down to Trinity Church where Alexander Hamilton is buried and just kind of see that area. We drove by it on the tour and it looked really, really pretty. So who knows? This is not wanting to spread too well. And I don't want to mess it up. I have to like start over. Also don't want to spend all night doing this. Because I have 2 tiers of this cake to decorate, plus this other cake I just baked, plus a cookie cake, all going out tomorrow morning, or cookie cake's on tomorrow afternoon, so I might just, I'm gonna bake it tonight and decorate it in the morning. Because it is a little more complicated, it's got a whole flamingo motif on it. I probably should have mixed that up already and got baking, but I didn't. Okay, this one again is not perfectly smooth. The cake is cold, so as I'm putting the fresh buttercream on it, it's kind of hardening it. And I probably should have let it sit out a couple minutes before I started, but you don't want it to get too warm and then you scrape through other layers. But So I'll have to see who that was in a minute. I don't know what I was saying. I don't want to scrape through it and make it not look. Let's start over. So I think that's pretty smooth. Smooth enough. So I'm gonna put a drip down this cake, and that takes away from any imperfections. All right. Now. Pop that in here again, just let that chill. Alright, so that top layer looks good here. So, ooh, my back. Now, I'm gonna grab this cake. My cake knife is dirty, so I'm just going to use this one. And you see how the cake domes up a bit? I'm just going to take a knife. Normally I use, I have this weird red knife I can use. You want a serrated knife to be able to cut through this. Okay, so we're going to take that. And normally I save cake tops and use in like cake pops or something, or just eat them as a snack. I might layer them in a cup or a bowl, like a trifle. But like I said earlier, this is coconut in it, which I'm very allergic to. So I am just going to throw those away. Right there. I'm going to run my knife around the edges here. Okay. There is that. I'm going to take this over here. And where did I put the cake boards I had for this? I'm gonna take off these gloves because I don't want to touch everything with coconut on my hands. You know, I think I was just gonna use this. I didn't get the other ones that I needed. Yeah, that'll work just fine. Okay, so I'm gonna take that, and this right again. Alright, I'll wipe down this area. Make sure those aren't too close to anything. Alright. Now, more gloves. And alright, so now take, well, that did a lot of good, didn't it? It's a little bit crumbly here, but we're gonna take a little bit of frosting, just dab it on the board here to use as a glue. Okay. Okay, well that kind of stuck a bit in some places, so I'm definitely gonna have to do a really good crumb coat on this cake. Okay, set that to the side there. Alright, dry my hands with this one. So what I'm going to do now is this cake has a cream cheese filling, but since it's cream cheese is pretty soft, I'm going to do a regular buttercream dam around the edges to kind of hold it all in and all together. I'm just putting some in this bag. And then oops. Alright. Piping around the edge here. That little bit there stuck and kind of dip down, so I'm just going to do a little more there. Okay. Now I'm going to take the cream cheese frosting I made a minute ago and just kind of fill this space. We don't want to add too much, but we want to make sure there's enough to fill it and that every bite gets a taste of the cream cheese. Okay. Yeah, let's leave it there for now. If that's done, we want to okay, I'll mold that cake. Stuck right in the corners there too. Again, it's stuck. I'll just see what's up with that. But we're gonna put this right on top again. Make sure it all, lines up. The top's level, looks pretty good to me. I'm going to come on the edges, get rid of that excess. And then we're gonna pop, before I do a full crumb coat, I'm gonna pop this in the fridge for a little while to firm up, because that cream cheese is pretty soft. So as I push on it, it might, kind of wobble and come apart. I'm just gonna put that in here somewhere. And okay, we're gonna let that all firm up. There's nothing more I can really do at this moment, so I'm probably gonna start working on my topper in Canva. So I'm gonna end the live for now, but thank you all so much for watching. Oh, let's see. Thank you, Sandra, for saying that. Buttercream and cream cheese are really good, yes. Oh, good night, Maureen. And good night, everybody. I'm about to clean up, disinfect all this coconut stuff, sit down and make my topper on Canva, and then get a game plan for everything else while everything firms up enough to move on to the next steps. But thank you all so much for watching. I may go live again here in a little while if I start working more. Just keep an eye out. But thank you all again. Come around and let's, I always do this. How do I end? Yes, stop streaming.